The fly symbolizes change. Seeing this fly means you're going through a transformation. It is a time of metamorphosis for you.
All right.
So, okay, let's take it. We're going to take the win. I'm going to choose to use that one and not the one that's like 4 down. That's like, a dark stranger is about to come and give you some unwanted news. Fuck that.
Number 7 is like, wash your pussy?
Yeah. Truly.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
I'm recording. I'm trying so hard to get some Christmas shopping done. It's just not, it hasn't happened. It's not happening. It hasn't happened for me, Case.
I started early because we had early Thanksgiving, as we've discussed on the podcast. And I was like, yes, I'll start early. All it's resulted in is A, spending too much money, probably more money than I should. B, getting like really lopsided, like a huge amount of gifts for one person, hardly any gifts for another person because I thought I still had time to think of what to get them. And then also, probably the most disastrous part, it gave me time to second guess the things that I did get and be like, why the fuck did I buy this on November 24th? Stupid.
Wait, I was just about to buy a bunch of shit that I'm like, what am I doing? This is so stupid.
I think we have to resist the temptation to just put a bunch of stuff like in our cart and under our tree. Like my mom used to love to shower the children with gifts.
We have this in common.
Yes, to the point where like the kids would be like, Grammy, I have to take a break from opening gifts. I'm like, when kids who wake up at 5 a.m. hype to find out what Santa brought them have to take a rest because they're tired from opening gifts, that's too much shit. It's too much shit. I could easily have taken half the gifts and like hid them away. And it wasn't like big extravagant stuff, you know? It really wasn't. It just was like the volume was too much. The volume.
I get it. I think we figured some things out.
So it's good talking to you.
So great. I'm just really grateful.
The amount of plugs behind you is hilarious. Look at the plugs on
guys,
the wall.
It's three.
But the way that they're all sticking out, it literally looks like an animated movie. Like,
well, now we're in this one. Now we're in an animated movie. So
it looks like
you know
you're
what I mean?
plugged in.
I do want to say, like, thank you to everybody for reaching out. So many people reached out. Like, by the way, first of all, friends, actual people I know. Also, you guys, people I don't know, friends of the pod, about the podcast earlier this week and about Birdie and everything that we went through and how weird and scary and traumatic it was. One of the more interesting people that reached out was my ex-husband, Mark Silverstein, because, oh my God, and Caissie, again, your camera, how did it, we just had a Zoom.
I know.
You guys have to understand. I'm going to take a picture right now. And you're going to have to, so you can post it. Okay. So go back to how you were. Okay. Okay. So wait. So you can see my full face. And then you look like the neighbor from Home Improvement is what you're giving me. You're giving me the neighbor from Home Improvement because all Caisie's camera for like the last few weeks when we've talked, I've only seen part of her nose and her eyes and like her forehead.
It's a thing that I do. I don't know what it is. Like lean in so close to any camera. It's a weird behavior. Maybe it's about like making myself smaller. You know what I mean? Like maybe psychologically it's about making myself smaller. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't matter where I put my camera. I'm always going to lean into it so that I look insane.
Well, let me tell you.
Mark Silverstein.
Yes. No, I have to text my parents because we ordered some gifts that they have to go pick up at the store near their house. Do you know what I mean? For the kids.
Yes.
But they have to do it within 7 days. And it has to be my dad.
It has to be
because
your
we
dad.
put his name. You know what I mean? So it has to, he has to show his driver's, whatever.
Yeah.
And it has to be dad.
That is hilarious.
Anyway, I was going to say, like, one of the most interesting people that reached out to me about the podcast was Mark.
Yeah.
Because he and I, recap, got back from Sweden. I left immediately the next morning at 6 a.m. for LA. I got back to New York Saturday morning at 7 a.m. He and Birdie left at 11 a.m. to go to LA.
Right.
So he and I had not talked about or processed anything together. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he was like, I just have to tell you that the way you described feeling like we were like that you were in a movie. He's like, I felt the exact same way. It's really the way that it was happening. He's like, I don't even know how. He's like, it was just when you said medium shot, I was about to say out loud medium shot.
Right.
And I actually think it's kind of interesting given what we all have been experiencing in the last, I would say 5 years, especially in the last 2 months. But also before that, I would say like with Ukraine and Russia. But that our access to real-time images of devastation, suffering, the worst things imagined, babies murdered, the worst images imaginable. Yeah. And I don't know if our brains are like, I don't know if other people are experiencing this in terms of like globally, like seeing things, if that a way that our brains are trying to protect themselves is by contextualizing it in terms of like storytelling or film and TV, or like this isn't like taking yourself out of it. Like this isn't actually happening. Right. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like distance. Like
distancing yourself.
Yes.
Because it is actually too close.
Yes.
Yes. And Mark said this thing. He was like, I literally felt like while it was happening busy, I felt like there was some sort of like rip in the fabric of time and space. And I totally understood what he meant when he said that.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of that to say, I just want to thank everybody for all of their well wishes, except for, like the few people who are like fucking cocksuckers, but they're just in pain themselves. So what are we going to do about that, guys? We can't do anything about that.
We're going to pray for them.
We're going to pray for them. I'm just going to like hope that that they get whatever they need to get out of it.
Yeah.
And then they are able to be kind to people in real life.
Yeah. I hope that for everyone always.
Me too.
It's really, it's interesting. I'm glad you're doing okay. I'm glad Bird is doing okay. The distance thing is very interesting. And talking to you and hearing your experience also made me realize, and it's so funny that you're mentioning the way that my camera is on the laptop. Like, I think that might be part of something that's broken in me, is that I don't know how to use devices for distance. I use them inappropriately to put distance between myself. And I had 2 really real thoughts, and I don't know if you busy want to hear them, and I don't know if people want to hear them. So like block your ears if you don't want to hear, I guess, but I'm just going to say because it's like my real thoughts. When my son was having a seizure in person, I wanted to turn around away from it and not look at him.
Yes.
Because all I could think of was like, I might be watching my son die.
Yes.
You know?
Of
like
course. No, that makes so much sense.
And that's what I've done with like pets who have been injured. I'm always like,
you know what happened? You know the story about the cat, our cat Verdell, who you guys have convinced Gina is, but she had a heart attack in front of us.
Right.
But she had been Mark's cat since she was a kitten.
Right.
And this was many, 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 many years ago, guys. Like, in case you probably don't know this story. I don't know how closely you listen to this fucking podcast. Birdie was like 3 at the time. Cricket, not even a thought yet. But she was seizing and she was having like, she was in agony. This poor sweet cat. And all I could think in that moment, I got very protective of Mark.
Yeah.
And Birdie.
Yeah.
Because she was a little.
Yeah, you don't want her to see that.
But even like weirdly more so of Mark. Because it had been his cat since she was a kitten.
Yeah.
And I just was like, get out of, like, I was just so forceful. And I was like, leave, get out of here right now, leave. So I really, really understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's just different, because it's also different. Because it's like, you'd be so unprepared for it. It wasn't, it's like, it was so traumatic, you know?
But I literally, in that moment, wanted to somehow distance myself from it. And like, obviously, you can't beam yourself to another planet. You can't beam yourself out of there. But like, my instinct was to turn away. And like, the way that it all happened, I went into action. Like, I was the one that was on the phone with 911 and relaying instructions to my husband. And so like efficiency became my way to like distance myself from it. But like, honestly, if I could have like blinked my eyes and like gone to Neptune, I would have. And then the other thing that it made me think of, that like when you were talking about it and you were talking about, I was so happy that Birdie's friend was there and like handled everything. But it did make me, because we are by nature selfish and selfish beings, it did make me think of like when my mom died, which Birdie was not, that's not what was happening. But it just made me think of like, my mom didn't die like instantly. Like, she collapsed somewhere.
She was with strangers. Yeah.
She was with strangers. Mm-hmm. And the doctor called me from the hospital to tell me what had happened. And he had said, I don't expect her to make it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't expect someone to survive this type of instance, but she's still, she's still here right now. And I will keep you posted. I don't know why I did not say, will you put the phone up to her ear?
Right. Well, because,
I didn't ask for that.
Caissie.
And so, like,
honey, you could, also, you're in the middle of like trauma. So you don't,
exactly.
You're not thinking clearly. You weren't thinking clearly.
Busy. It fully took me a year to think of that I could have asked for that.
I know.
That I could have said.
I know.
Can you just put the phone up to her ear? And like, I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm not, I don't think it makes me like a bad daughter or anything. It's just something that I wish that I had done. But.
And also, by the way, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but probably something a nurse would have thought of. I'm sorry. I actually think that's true. I actually think that's true.
It was a perfect storm. It was literally a perfect storm, Busy. It was a blizzard where she lived.
Yeah,
I'm sure they had a a skeleton crew. No
Yeah,
pun
I know,
intended.
I know.
I had just been diagnosed with COVID, so I wasn't 100% in my right mind anyway.
Right.
My whole family.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. The reason why I'm even bringing it up to you is because, like, the thing that happened with Lincoln happened so long ago. And the thing that happened with my mom, it's been a year. It's just been a year.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm even bringing it up is just to point out that, like, it's going to come up and it's going to go away and recede, but then it's going to come up at, like, the weirdest time again. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, I'm just bringing it up because I just want people to know, like, that's how you live through these, like, unimaginable rip in the fabric of time things that happen, is that, like, they do go away, or they, like, recede to the background a little bit, and then something will happen and it's like it just happened 2 minutes ago, you know? And it's normal, you know? And it's normal to, like, laugh and find joy in between. And it's normal to have weird panic attacks in between, all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you're in the middle of it and at the beginning of it at the same time, you know? And that's just what I was thinking about. Like, should I tell people? Here's the good news, is that, like, it's normal to have it recede to the background sometimes, and you have some, like, almost movie-like distance from it where you're like, this isn't my life. This is something that, like, I saw on TV almost. And, you know, next thing you know, you're, like, cracking up with the person that you were standing over at that, you know, at that moment where it felt like the world might possibly be ending. And then there's going to be other times when, like, it's going to flash in front of your eyes, like, just, you know, just like it's real life again. And, like, it's happening again. And you're like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm watching very closely with no distance this movie, and I didn't ask for this one fucking thing that I should have asked for, you know?
Here's what I'm going to say about traveling over the holidays. You know what the bummer is?
You're away from your Helix mattress.
You're away from your Helix mattress. Yes, Caissie. Yes. That is correct.
The only solution is to buy a Helix mattress for whoever's house you're going to.
I mean, it does make a great gift. I'm just going to say. Your parents will be so happy to have a new mattress in the guest room.
I'm 100% in favor of this plan.
Me too. Me too. You know that Caissie and I are such huge fans of Helix mattresses. We have them everywhere.
Yes. My whole family
Both of us
has
have them everywhere.
Yeah, my whole family has them.
You just sleep different. You sleep better. If sleep is a thing for you, maybe think about when the last time you upgraded, got a new mattress was. And you might be one of those people, like I was before we were doing this podcast, where I was like, oh, shoot. When was the last time I got a new mattress?
Right.
Because you got to get new mattresses, guys. They're not for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? I mean, they can be, but your back will be in pain and your body will not be thanking you. And the Helix lineup of mattresses is 20 unique mattresses, all kinds, including the award-winning Luxe collection, the newly released Helix Elite collection, a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, even mattress for children. You can, if you want, take a quiz to find out which mattress will be best for you and your body and how you sleep. They'll pair you with a mattress in under 2 minutes. Your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door, free of charge. And because Helix is so smart and has been doing this so well, they know there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. You can go into a store and sit down and lie down on a mattress all you want, but until
Right.
you're like sleeping on it multiple nights in a row, you don't know actually. And Helix is aware of this. That's why they offer a 100-night trial.
100 nights.
100 nights. 3 months. Over 3 months.
Over 3 months. A lot can happen in 3 months.
Jesus, a lot does happen in 3 months. And 10 to 15-year warranty. So
It's
look,
incredible.
they have all kinds of mattresses. They even have mattresses that have enhanced cooling features that keep you from overheating at night.
Yes,
Come
that's for
on.
me. That's for me. And they're the number one mattress picked by GQ and Wired magazine. Their children's mattress was named Best Children's Mattress by Parents magazine. I mean, don't take our word for it.
Don't take our word for it. They're incredible. It's a great gift to give your spouse too. By the way, I'm just going to say that because you benefit from that.
It's also a gift for
gift for you as well.
My favorite kind.
So listen, Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/best. This is the best offer yet. It's not going to last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Kitch, I love you so much. You know we love you.
Busy, can I tell you, so many of our listeners that participated in the Elf Exchange gave each other gifts from Kitsch. And it made me so happy to hear and see what all of you chose for each other from Kitsch's extensive offerings of really giftable, great things that everybody wants. Everyone was delighted.
Satin pillowcases, the time-saving towels for your hair, which, by the way, I travel with. I really just genuinely travel with.
Yeah, that's all I use.
Whatever your budget, your skin type, the best stocking stuffers, the best, guys, the best gifts. Also, they have their rice water shampoo bars, and I'm obsessed with that because it also makes traveling a dream. I don't have to worry about like my liquids. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know we love the heatless satin curling rollers. They were a real viral hit on TikTok, and for good reason. They did a collab with Barbie, and they had like all of the satin pillowcases in the iconic Barbie pink. Guys, just get in there. Get in there. You're going to love it. I'm so happy so many of you are already fans like we are. And now is the chance for everybody else. Right now, Kitsch is offering you 30% off your entire order at mykitsch.com/best. That's right. 30% off anything and everything at mykitsch, kitsch.com/best. One more time, mykitsch.com/best for 30% off your order. You know, I don't sleep a ton. I don't sleep through the night, like ever. Right. You know, we've talked about this.
Yes.
And I will say, Birdie and I were just talking. Birdie and Mark came back yesterday. Also, by the way, I just want to take 1 minute to say thank you for fucking saying those things, because I think it's really valuable. And if you don't need to hear it now, you will at some point.
Yeah.
So
it's that's life. That's life. Happening to us
life all the time. Yes.
Know, and if you haven't lost anyone, or you haven't been scared to death yet in your life, not to be like, it just is life. There's going to come a day when you lose someone or you come close to it. And anyway, continue.
Oh, I was going to say, I was talking with Birdie because Birdie's been sleeping great on the anti-seizure meds. And I was like, Who knew? Maybe that's what you needed this whole time.
Maybe that's what you need.
Maybe that's what we needed.
Maybe you're having a seizure, a low-level seizure at all times.
Constantly. Wouldn't be fucking surprising. Anyway, but what I was going to say is that this morning I was up, and for some reason something was suggested to me, and I like this account, on Instagram. So I look on Instagram, and guys, don't tell me. I know it's not the thing you're supposed to do when you wake up and you have insomnia at 3 a.m. I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is where we're at and we're just here for now. And so I'll make better choices in the future. I don't fucking know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But I'm like, start scrolling on Instagram and this like comedian guy pops up. And then I kind of like went on a journey with him and his wife, which like one thing was making me like genuinely lol so hard. But he seems like a really nice guy. Wait, I was like, I don't understand sometimes like how to save things. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'm like,
that's
so
also coming for us all where we don't know how to save things. Or I was trying to share a story for 10 minutes this morning. And I was like, I just have to tap out of this. I don't know how to do it.
I know, but I like sort of like never have known how to do that. Like, I don't know. Anyway, my point being that what he was talking about was actually not a like funny thing. He was in his car and he was talking about how his dead father called him on the phone.
Oh my God.
And he told the story, like his phone rang and it said dad's cell and he looked at it and was like, oh, okay. And then it occurred to him, my dad died 3 years ago.
Right.
You know, and turns out his mom has been paying the thing still and had the phone. And then like her phone was somewhere so she just used dad's cell.
Oh my God.
And, you know, he started crying because like in the video, but also I imagine at the time, because he was just like, I'm putting this here for anyone that needs it. Like, you don't know when it's going to come back and hit you.
Right.
And I didn't talk about this when it happened, but when I was in LA before Thanksgiving, I went out to dinner with Mark and Cricket and Emily Beebe. And I had really been like missing Kate a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And I sent Christine earlier that day. I just sent Christine a video of the three of us at Kate's house when she was going through treatment in June, when I like got the little beret, when they gave me the little beret.
Right.
And I was like pretending to be French. And Kate was like laughing so hard. And we were just like lolling or what, you know, it just was funny.
Yeah.
And I had sent it to Christine that morning, okay?
Yeah.
And then we were sitting at dinner. So insane. And my phone buzzed. And it was a text to my text chain of me, my text chain that was me, Kate, and Christine.
Yeah.
It's not what you think it is. It was a text from me, Kate, and Christine, or our text chain.
Yeah.
From Kate.
Wow.
Not from Christine responding, from Kate. And I hadn't sent it to the text thread that morning. I sent it just to Christine. I haven't. And Kate Surge texted you, popped up.
Huh.
And it was that video. And underneath it was written, Kate loved this.
Aww.
And I like lost. I like didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
And I like started, I was like, I started like kind of panicking. And I called Christine. I walked away from our dinner and I like called Christine and was like, I don't understand what this is. I don't understand what's happening. What's happening? Like, how is this happening?
Yeah.
And it was her husband. Who, by the way, I mean, psychically or whatever, the fact that I had sent that exact video that morning to Christine, he didn't know that. He just had been looking through videos on her phone.
Oh, yeah.
And then sent it to us on our thread from her phone because he doesn't have the video. Do you know what I'm saying?
Gosh, yes.
It was like a very
it was a
honest
coincidence.
Coincidence. The coincidence, obviously, or not, or fucking not.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And I had like totally forgotten about it or not forgotten about it, but it was so much for me. And of course I would never want to make her husband feel like he was just, he was just going through videos on her phone because he was missing her and wanted to tell us that, but my God, like when I saw that video of that guy this morning, I was thinking just exactly what you brought up, right? Like, and everybody says grief is waves. And I just haven't experienced really what that is until this past year. Because, to be honest with you, even like there have been just several things in my life that I've had to grieve the loss of. And it really all has been that work, like really has been for this past year, truly.
Right.
And those waves are real.
People say grief is waves, and that is probably true for some people. I feel like grief is like a solar panel salesman. Like, I don't see it coming. Like the doorbell rings and I'm like, who the fuck is that? And then I open the door and it's like, ding dong, it's grief,
Well, I guess when I think about waves, I think about how I always get just like fucking pummeled by them. And that's why the ocean is scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking of like floating gently on some waves. I'm literally thinking of like standing with my back to the ocean, like
getting knocked on your face.
waving at a friend who's bringing me a margarita, and then getting like slammed so fucking hard down into the sand.
Yeah.
And like losing my top.
I guess.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I guess we should turn around.
I gotta fucking turn. I gotta turn my face right toward those waves coming.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I have yet to spot grief coming.
Yeah. Didn't see it coming. And just in the same way, like I didn't see that overwhelming processing and panicking and dealing with what had happened with birds. I didn't see that. I didn't know I was going to wake up Sunday last week and that was going to be it. Like I really didn't see that coming.
Right.
That darkness. And also like the culmination of so many other things as well.
Here's one thing I do want to say, because I know, and I'm not trying to like have toxic positivity. I don't think this is a toxic positivity message. I know that I've often said I'm always trying to find the lesson in something, and that's a way to swallow when something shitty happens. I know, to be like, well, what lesson can I gain from this or whatever? But I do think there is a lesson in what you just said about you wouldn't have guessed that was going to happen on Sunday. I wouldn't have guessed that I was going to get that call from the hospital. I wouldn't have guessed that was going to happen to my son either, or like what I talked about the other day. I mean, I guess I kind of guessed that was maybe going to happen to my son for whatever weird reason, my other son. But here's what I want to say about things you never saw coming. If it's true that we are both agreeing that shit happened that we never saw coming in a million years, then maybe we have to stop worrying so much about what's coming, because it doesn't make a fucking bit of difference, in our own lives. Like, who said that really smart thing about if you worry about something and then it actually happens, you've lived it twice.
You've lived it twice, right? Well, I have to say, I think I'm pretty good about that.
You're one of the most healthy people that I know that is like, well, I'm feeling this weird thing. I'm going to go to the doctor and get it checked out. Like, most people have to go on a whole psychological journey to get to the point where they're like feeling strong enough to like call that's what I think.
Right. And
in my experience.
Yes. And like we've talked about this. Like we've talked about it on this podcast when I've like been waiting for results of things, you know?
Yeah.
That isn't, for me, that's not the journey. But for me, the journey is letting go.
Yeah.
And moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not living in the place of what ifs or regrets or, you know, that's really hard for me.
Yeah.
And continues to be really hard for me.
Well, all of this is like all of these things that we're wishing were different about us are like easier said than done too.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And maybe easier said and impossible to do. Maybe it's just who we are. Like maybe you're just the kind of person that will have to struggle with letting go your entire life. Maybe it's just like who you are. I mean, a really good example is, and I'm sorry to be talking so much about so much trauma, especially
it's
like
the holidays.
It's the holidays. I have more than one friend who lost children this year.
Yeah, Jesus
and
Christ.
Which is like, I can imagine and I can't imagine. You know what I mean? Like I can imagine stepping up to that line because I feel like I have, at least in my mind, but I can't imagine crossing that line. It's not something anyone, I don't think you can, imagine it.
No.
And we're probably not supposed to. Right. But it is very interesting to me, to just see the way that they're going on and their strength. And like one family in particular is so celebratory of their child who they lost way too young. Like they learned that was going to happen very suddenly. And then everything that was supposed to take a certain amount of time happened a lot more quickly than it was supposed to happen. And so they were just trying to like live 10 lives in the time that they were given. And it wound up being a shorter time. And I don't know, I haven't talked that directly with this friend about it, but my sense is that there's just not one bit of like, fuck, we got screwed. Like our kid got taken away from us. And not only that, like we got half the time that we were told. Half the time. And like, there hasn't been like a whiff of that from them. And they are just they fucking celebrated that kid while that kid was alive. And they are celebrating that kid still. And I'm like,
but
this
also,
is just who they are. This is who they
I was
were
gonna
born.
say, I was going to say part of it is I think that might be who they are, who they
It's just who
have
they
been.
are.
It's just who they are. That's how they are. That's how they process.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
like, and also like,
that's unusual.
it's unusual, but also like that's also happening forward facing. You know what I mean? And like, you don't, I think that the truth is that, God, I was having this conversation last week. Like, it's always weird to me when you really sit, like maybe it's like a fucking stoner thought, truly. Like, but truly, it might be.
Yeah.
It might be kind of like a stoner thought.
Yeah.
But like when you really sit with the idea that like no two people experience love the same way and like what love means to me, romantic or platonic or parental or like all of the kinds of love. Like what love means to me, no one else can possibly ever understand or feel exactly the same way. We don't know what other people feel when they feel love.
Right.
And it's a trip.
It's like an expansion of that question that you think you're the only little kid that ever thought of it, but every little kid has thought, do I see blue the same way everyone else
That's
sees
exactly
blue?
right. It's
Yes.
exactly right. Oh, honey love. Every time, guys. Every time.
Every time. It's a good one.
It's a good
It's a banger.
We talked about honey love, how we've been wearing it all throughout this holiday season to various events and things because I'm done with like anything uncomfortable in my body. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want comfort. I want comfort. I'm like Beyonce. I want to be cozy. You know what I mean? But I also want my clothes to look good and I want things to like fall nicely.
Well, that's why Honey Love is so perfect. I mean, honestly, you know how you put your dog in a Thunder shirt? Like that's what I feel like my Honey Love is for me.
Oh, I like that. I understand that totally and completely. Having worn Honey Love myself and been wearing it, that makes so much sense. It's like the exact right amount of compression
Yes.
so that you feel held,
Yes.
but not crushed.
Yes.
And
exactly.
you're like, and it's like targeted in the exact right places. And it just, yes, that is really such a great way to put it. Guys, I'm just saying there's the crossover bra, so comfortable. I'm wearing it right now.
boobs look so good in it. Like it's the kind of bra that you wear and then your girlfriends are like, hey, your boobs are looking great today. And,
Yeah,
you know,
and you're like,
here's
here
my
it is.
secret.
Here we go. And there's no underwire, which is insane. But I don't know how they do it. It's just they're perky, no underwire, incredible.
Magic.
Also, the shapewear that we've talked about, like the perfect amount of compression. The super power short is incredible.
Yeah.
And
I really put this stuff to the test because everything rolls on me and Honey Love does not. It has never rolled down, never rolled up.
It's also as easy to put on as it is to take off. Like, and God. I appreciate that, especially if you've had a couple cocktails at a holiday party and you get home and you're like, bleh. Like you can't be struggling with your shapewear. We need an easy out, you know?
Yes.
We need to get into our jammies and we need to turn on the Hallmark channel. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Because shapewear shouldn't be hard. And Honey Love honestly understands it. And they just want to make you look good and feel good and make it easy. So treat yourself to the best bras and shapewear on the market. Save up to 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/best20 this month only. Inventory is limited. The sale ends soon. Don't miss the best deals of the year. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please, you guys, if you do one thing for us, please support the show and tell them that we sent you and that's how you heard about them. Because we're telling you about them and we're telling you it's time to ditch the underwire for good. Thanks to Honey Love. We love you, Honey Love.
We love you, Honey Love.
Ooh, it's Hatch. I love Hatch. You know what I used my Hatch light for yesterday?
What?
Just like light for a Zoom I had.
Oh, because you look good in the light, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because you look good in the light. I was like, wow, they don't talk about this, you know?
Yes.
Because the Hatch Restore 2, guys, is a little bit like of a sleep trainer, like helper. It also helps you wake up more well-rested, and it has a very gentle like light that comes up that wakes you up. But that light is like really gentle.
It's top notch. You look like a movie star. Who doesn't want to look like that in the bedroom?
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that, guys. That's what I'm telling you. Lilac sunrise, guys. Lilac sunrise. You'll thank me later. But yeah, I've really been loving my Hatch Restore too. And it just helps me kind of like go to bed because I, use the sound machine.
Yeah.
Sleep sounds.
One of the biggest issues I have is being scared awake by alarms. It's not good for me. What it does to my body is not good. So just removing the anxiety of knowing that I will be scared awake by a different alarm helps me to sleep so much better. That I know that my wake up is going to be gentle. I'm able to rest better.
Yeah, I totally get that. Well, I also just love that great sleep can be learned with Hatch. 83% of customers report improved sleep, and they have a 60-night money-back guarantee. You can try it for yourself risk-free. I also think this makes a great gift. I'm just going to say it.
Yes.
Right now, Hatch is offering our listeners $20 off your purchase of the Hatch Restore 2 and free shipping at hatch.co/busy. That's hatch.co/busy to get $20 off and free shipping. Hatch.co/busy. Did you see that? I posted this quote from a novel that Jenny Connor was reading and she had sent to me. And the quote is kind of amazing because I felt like I had never seen it put so succinctly, and it like is exactly sort of how I feel.
Yeah.
And it's loneliness wasn't having no one. Loneliness was the gap between what you hoped for and what you got.
Yeah. I did see that.
And as a person who's like self-identified as lonely for so much of my life.
Yeah.
I think that there's a way for me to reframe a little bit. Like, I think a lot of times, or at least in the last couple of years, I think because of like TikTok and Instagram and like self-help sound bites being like sort of pushed at us, and like it's easy to take exactly what you want to fit your narrative. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that there's like, obviously, you know, I've seen enough things that are like, the love that you give is coming to you. You're going to, and you'll know because you're going to walk into it and it's going to be just exactly the. And I think that like, I have had that. I've like held on to that a lot, you know?
Yeah.
But then also reading that quote, I'm like, but maybe like there's some onus on me, you know?
Yeah.
It just in terms of like either being able to articulate what it is that I am hoping for.
Right.
Or understanding that maybe some of it is too much because maybe some of it isn't for someone else.
Right.
Maybe it's for me.
Right.
To fill in the gap. Do you know what I'm saying?
Which is hard. It's a big challenge, but I think that it's like such a sign of maturity too.
God, I mean, at this age, Jesus Christ. Finally, she's fucking hitting it. God damn it.
Girl, when I tell you that I was a literal mental baby until I turned 40 years old, and I am still learning every day how to take responsibility for things that are my responsibility, to be accountable for things that are my responsibility. One thing that never even fucking occurred to me until the past couple years is that like, I can mourn those things that I wish for, that I hoped for.
Right.
Talk about like saying goodbye to some things. There are some periods in my life where I didn't get what I needed from somebody who, you know, whether they should have noticed it or whether I should have spoken up about it, it doesn't matter. It's immaterial. I didn't get it in that moment, but that moment's gone. And so I have to mourn the loss of what could have been and say goodbye to it. But the thing that fucking occurred to me only in the past couple years, and like I'm sure I was aware of it in some way, but like the words hadn't materialized in my brain, for all of the things that I am mourning that I could have said other people played a part in. There are people mourning for things that I have played a part in. That they have to heal from. And so like, then that becomes a part of my fucking like to-do list, my long ass to-do list, which is like, try not to do things, I guess, that people would have to heal from, but good luck doing that when you're a person, But when I tell you it never occurred to me until the past couple of years, I'm like, that's the kind of self-centered person, I guess, that I am. But I don't think it's that. I just think that, I do think it's that. But like, that's what, when I'm beating myself up, I'll say that. Like, I never even thought that there are people walking around trying to heal from things that I have done that I probably don't even realize that I've done. But I also just think it's because, like, that's the way that our brains work, And I think you're 100% correct. I think, like, TikTok and things like that make it easy. Well, that's the formula, right? To talk to your wounded place and to talk to, There's not a lot of TikTok therapists being like, let's talk about what you could have done better. Like, let's, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't go viral, That doesn't, there's not a lot of people that are like, let's talk about when you were a shitty friend.
Yeah. And I think like, I don't know. I think that for what it's worth, I know about myself that I'm like pretty fucking hard on myself. And I know that about you too, if I'm being real.
Yeah.
And I think I work really hard I take a lot on sometimes that's like not even for me.
Yeah.
But, it's just definitely all of this time, like these last almost 4 years have been, I think, for most people, a fuck ton, a lot. And I am definitely, and you are definitely, we are definitely two of those people. And I don't know exactly, like, I've been having like the OCD, like ADD thing of the songs looping in my head a lot, this week especially, because it's like a thing that also happens when I'm like very activated in some kind of like trauma space, And that Solange song, Cranes in the Sky, has been looping in my head. And it's like, just the lyrics of it, if you guys don't know the song, it's a fucking beautiful song. You should get it. But the lyrics of it are just like all the things that she tried to do to get it to go away. Whatever it is, if it's like heartbreak, if it's trauma, if it's death, if it's like loss, if it's aging, But at the end, but at the end of the day, it's just, you just have to wait. You just have to like, there's nothing to be done.
Right.
You just keep moving. You just keep flying. You just keep going. I think there's a very real thing too that happens with women once they reach the point where their children start aging and they are also aging, of like mourning their younger lives and mourning like the things that they wish they could go back and do differently or be more present for, or because it ends for us,
Yeah. Or that's the message. Like you will become invisible.
Yeah. And also I gotta tell you, as a person who's like been out there dating as a 44-year-old, I'm not 40, I'm 44.
Yeah.
That like, it's kind of real with dudes.
Yeah. That's why I don't date.
Yeah. You shouldn't. You should definitely not date. But it is kind of real with dudes. It's like the thing of me, like that I'm not probably going to have who fucking knows too? Like that you don't know.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things that happen. I just mean in terms of like having kids or whatever. You just don't know.
You're not planning on it.
There's no plans.
Right.
Howevs. I don't know. Who fucking knows? But that being said, like, even it's just interesting to me. Like, it feels like it is kind of a thing for like that's in most men's awareness, at least. Especially like if they don't have kids already.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's weird. Like, it's a weird thing for me to have to like wrap my head around, kind of.
I'd imagine it's so weird because, like, okay, so if you drill down on that, it's like experts will say it's biological. Like, you become invisible to men because biologically, if there's like a biological imperative to procreate,
right,
then men are going to gravitate toward whatever, you know. Okay, so take that all as a given, and then also consider in the year 2023, maybe we're past like just being ruled by our biological imperatives and we can like impose some other structure on what it is we're trying to do. All that being said, I also have to imagine that if you like got with a guy, if you went on a date with a guy that kind of like made a big deal or made it obvious that you're not invisible to him, even though you're 44 and like a biologically imperative driven man, you'd be invisible to him, but this guy sees you. Like, if a guy was making a big deal about that to me, I would also feel weird about that. I'm just being honest. I would feel like some kind of weird mascot or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way it's not weird. There's no way in which it's not weird. The only remedy for it is to just meet a person who you're so into and so into like spending time with that you can like put up with the weirdness of all this other bullshit, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's the hope, right?
That's the hope.
Anyway,
listen, I don't envy you. It's not going.
I'm like that part is that's not happening anymore. Don't worry about it, guys. Don't worry about me being dating. Let's not. None of us need to be concerned about that. My mom used to have this sign in the laundry room that said the beatings will continue until morale improves.
Yes.
And like
a classic cubicle photocopy joke.
Sure,
that's for young people. That's what memes used to be.
That was, oh my God, it was a fucking original meme.
Memes were like photocopied and people would hang them in their cubicles at their jobs, at their corporate jobs
or you would see like a sign at like a Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Like a little, like it printed out, like a thing at Cracker Barrel, and you would buy it and then put it in your laundry room, I guess.
And then like, that's how you like stick it to the man and let people know who you are.
Right, right. Well, the beatings will continue until morale improves, I think is really a perfect encapsulation of my experience trying to date in the last year.
Yeah.
Which is just like, it has literally brought me such few moments joy that all the rest of it has not been worth it at all.
Oh my God.
And is only sort of like forced me to like recalibrate like all of these things that I already knew about myself, like my own self-worth and my value, and like, yeah, does it matter that I'm like, the fucking old ass bitch, and like who's by the way, like I see what people see, guys. I'm fucking the best. I am the best. Minus what a few fucking trolls on the internet have to say to me because of the way peoplemag.com like posted the story about our podcast, whatever. I don't fucking care. Like, aside from like,
I'm just happy they listened.
Cindy in Ohio or whatever, who's like, get off the fucking, you're a fucking narcissist. Like, me, like, Cindy, babe, you're the one posting on my Instagram account. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's all be real about what's happening here. But like, I've had to continually like recalibrate my own awareness of my self-worth and my hotness and my fucking thing and blah, 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 blah. And it's like only just been disappointing. And like, I've only just been, well, except for weird fucking Alan Starzinski, disappointed by people.
Yeah.
And like men, disappointed by men.
Yeah.
And I think it's been interesting too, because it is like, I do feel like I saw a friend recently and she's like, I'm so impressed. Like you really have put yourself out there in a way that like I don't do, because I'm like, I just am scared. I don't want to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that and like, yeah, I'm kind of impressed by myself too, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, because this is not easy for me.
No.
And can I tell you something? Like, a couple dudes have like, you know, used like some things, like not used, but like they've like in talking to me about what they've, you know, why they're whatever they are. And this is like they won't be able to be consistent or a person.
Right.
In my life, right?
Yeah.
It's been a lot of like, I think my trauma is like, or I really have this thing, like, you know, that's my trauma. That's like, you know, my parents' divorce or this or that or whatever, you know, like, and by the way, and I'm not like discrediting men who have feelings, but truly, you know,
Right.
But like, I managed to work through being raped by a man and I still date men. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm just saying that like for women, we have to like overcome it. Heterosexual women have to overcome whatever. Caissie, cut this part out. I don't want to get into it. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yes. No, I mean, that honestly is something that came up in my marriage. Like, Matt had a habit of saying, when I was saying, like, this is what we're doing now, but what I need is this. And he would say, I'll work on it. I will work on it is like the same as putting something in the junk closet.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
it's not getting work done. It's not getting work done. And so then when I would lodge a second, like, I still need this thing that you said you were going to work on, he had a habit of saying, sorry, this is just how I am. And I kind of rolled with it for a long time until I was like, A, you're not sorry. Like, whenever anyone says sorry with like a tone of hostility, you're not sorry. But also B, like, I've never gotten to say this is just how I am. Like, never at a job, never in a friendship, never just like take it or leave it, you know? And like, I think that men in particular, even really good guys, I think they let themselves off the hook sometimes by saying, because this happened, this is how I am, take it or leave it. And they almost want a cookie for like identifying what the problem is with them. But I'm like, you don't get a cookie for that. You should deal with it. Like, you need to figure that out and not visit it upon me or anyone else.
Right.
But like, I think, and you know, when we're talking about like TikTok therapy culture, all that stuff, like, I think it probably ties into this as well. I think that like a lot of men, and probably a lot of people, but a lot of men in my experience are only going so far. Like you don't get to just identify what the source of some trauma or pain in your life is and not do anything about it. And also like in a hostile tone, let everyone know that that's just how you are because this thing happened to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's very immature. Like, I think I used to be that way. I think I was that way when I was in my 20s for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I've like had moments where I've reverted back to it. Like, when I've been like, well, this is just who I am because fucking deal with it because it's too fucking hard.
Right.
You know?
And by the way, it's your right to be that way. It's everyone's right to deal with things in their own time. But things follow with that. Like your relationships are only going to be a certain way and you're only ever going to progress so far past the thing that you're not dealing with until you're ready to deal with it. And so you have to be realistic about those things. And when you're wondering why certain things are like how they are, sometimes you maybe have to be like a little introspective and start dealing with some of the things. And maybe, I don't know.
Right. But saying I see that, I'll think about that, or I'll work on that. That's just not, I mean, it's a fucking bummer.
It's a bummer, but it's also like everybody's doing it and we're letting people get away with it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that's true.
And it takes guts to be like, that's not good enough. Like,
yeah, which is like what I just did recently. And it sucks. Like, I don't like it, like, at all. Like, it's bumming me out, you know? Because then also, like, I just am like, why?
Right.
Like, why?
Right.
Does this have to be the way that fucking things are? Like, I don't know.
I guess the good news is that if you're like, I don't know, like you can cut your losses, cut bait. Is that what the kids say? And just like move on to someone that's like maybe interested in working with you a little bit. I don't know. But that sucks because you're always starting at zero.
Yeah. And I do think, like, I mean, guys, I went out on so many fucking actual, like, just first dates with people.
I know.
I have like gone out with so many people just almost like as, I don't even know what. I mean, to try it, to see, because you never know, whatever.
Right.
And none of them were like, well, one of them was kind of painful, but like, that's at least going to be a good story. You know? You know what I'm talking about, Caissie. Someday, guys. It'll have to be like in a book. It'll have to be in my next book.
And like
actually, it will be because
all names changed.
All names changed. My God. It'll have to be because I think I started writing the book. So
good.
That's good. Okay. Yeah.
That's
but
good.
it's just this year.
Well, I mean, this is also what I've been thinking about. Like you kept saying that you feel like your life is a movie and like that it's like a movie against your will and the movie keeps changing. And I was honestly thinking like, I just want a rom-com for you. You know, I want you to get cast in a rom-com in your life and enjoy
a rom-com musical. Even we could do that. I mean,
Perfect.
I can sing.
Perfect.
I'm ready for the rom-com too. I'm ready for like I'm actually just ready for some like lightness.
Yeah.
And I feel like this entire year has been sort of a process of me letting go of a lot of things and in so many different ways. And like, I feel as though the universe has been like presenting things that are both giant and tiny and kind of like everything in between and asking me to be able and willing to meet all of those things kind of in the same way, which is like, let it go, understand that like it's okay to grieve it, but you can't let that stop you from continuing to live your life and be open and be the person that you are. and you know you are, and that you've worked so hard to become, you know?
Well, I guess that answers maybe the question what you're doing your best at this week.
I think that's right. Euphoria. We're talking a lot about sleep in our ads this week. You know what I mean? We're talking a lot about things that happen in the bedroom. A lot of things that happen on mattresses. A lot of things to help you get better night's sleep. You know what makes me sleep? Guys, the best orgasm of your life will help you get better sleep. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah. You're 100% right. There is no more natural sedative than coming.
Did we say that at the same time?
I don't know. Did we?
I think we did. I think we just said coming at the same time.
That's so hot.
Guys, it's so hot. And that's what you want with your partner or alone. And here's where Euphoria comes in. They have the Awaken Arousal Oil. They have the Sex Oil. And they will change the way you think about orgasms and how incredible your orgasms and pleasurable they can be. And listen, I've said I'm going to be solo for a while. And this is great news for me that I have Euphoria in my life.
I was going to say, like, that's probably why you're able to say that with any confidence and not bursting into tears.
Honestly, Caissie, you're not wrong.
Oh.
And I feel like it really did change since they advertised on our podcast and we tried the product. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I've had girlfriends who are like married or in relationships and they're like, our sex life is great. And I'm like, I gift them a bottle and I'm like, but who doesn't want it to be better?
Well, it's like you can have a nice dining room table, but it looks better with fresh flowers on it, you know?
You know what I mean? The arousal oil is just like a little warm up.
Yes.
That helps to get you really turned on, increases your pleasure, deepens your orgasms by yourself or with your partner. Awaken uses CBD and warming, sensation-inducing organic botanicals that enhance arousal and sensitivity and pleasure and access to orgasm and helps with discomfort. And best of all, just turns you on. And the sex oil just helps keep things going, man. Boy.
You know what I was going to say, Busy, is that like, I don't know if we've ever talked about how they're lightly scented. They're so lightly scented and the scent is so pleasant. But I almost have like a Pavlovian thing with the scent now. Like even just cracking the bottle and smelling it, I'm like...
I'm into it. I'm into it for you.
It's going down. It's all happening.
I love that. I love that. Okay, listen. If you haven't tried it yet, now's the time. Get it as a stocking stuffer for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then get your stocking stuffed. What? Anyway, you have our permission. We fully endorse you to go ahead, treat yourself to more, deeper, fuller pleasure wherever you can find it as often as possible. And why don't you go ahead and start with a bottle of Euphoria? Euphoria is offering a special deal for our listeners. Get 20% off your first order by visiting euphoria.com/best or use code BEST at the checkout. That's euphoria.wellness.com. FORIA wellness.com/best for 20% off your first order. We recommend trying the Awaken Arousal Oil and the Sex Oil. You're going to thank us. Element. Listen, we got to replenish the electrolytes.
Yeah.
After a couple glasses of wine. No time more necessary than now, whilst the holidays are happening, traveling is happening. You're probably not drinking enough water as it is. You're probably maybe drinking a little too much wine. You probably are, just traveling is dehydrating. The winter is dehydrating.
I also recently gave a huge box of Element to a friend that was going through a thing and she was crying a lot and just talking about how depleted she felt. And she said it turned her life around.
Well, here's the thing. Electrolytes facilitate hundreds of functions in your body, including the conduction of nerve impulses, hormonal regulation, nutrient absorption, fluid balance. An Element can help prevent and eliminate headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleeplessness, and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. For me, it's like a feeling of just being like I just feel sort of like what you're saying, just sort of run down kind of.
Yeah.
And then I do an element in water, in like a thing of water. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm fine. Turns out.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a perfect science-backed electrolyte ratio with no junk, no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS. And it's perfectly suited for people who have a keto diet or low carb or paleo diet or whatever.
Yeah.
Guys, you don't have to take our word for it, but you should. You should. Our word should be good enough.
I honestly
you should take our word for it. It's a game changer.
It has changed my life, and it's something that I 100% can't go a day without. I cannot go a day without it.
And can I be honest with you right now, in this moment, right this second after I stop doing this ad, I'm going to go to my pantry and I'm going to put an element in my water and drink it because I just realized like, oh, I actually could use it right now.
Same.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. Well, right now, Element is offering our listeners a free sample pack with any order. It's 8 single-serving packets free with any Element order. It's a great way to try all 8 flavors or share it with a salty friend. Get yours at drinklmnt.com/best. This deal is only available through our link. You have to go to drinklmnt.com/best. Try it totally risk-free. If you don't like it, you can just give it to somebody else and Element will give you your money back. No questions asked. So you literally have nothing to lose and you only have your electrolytes to gain. People really liked that Charles Bukowski poem that I posted.
It was particularly good.
It really resonated with people. And if you didn't see it on my Instagram, I'll read it to you right now. Just because I think it's so worth it. And it is in my Hoffman folder because it was a poem that was like in the Hoffman, like when I did the week at Hoffman, it was like one of the poems. And it was one of the ones specifically that I loved so much that I like copied it into my own notebook and like in my own handwriting and, but it's The Laughing Heart by Charles Bukowski. And I'll just read it to you guys so that you don't have to go look it up if you don't want to, but here it is. Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dank submission. Be on the watch. There are ways out. There is light somewhere. It may not be much light, but it beats the darkness. Be on the watch. The gods will offer you chances. Know them. Take them. You can't beat death, but you can beat death in life sometimes. And the more often you learn to do it, the more light there will be. Your life is your life. Know it while you have it. You are marvelous. The gods wait to delight in you.
That's so beautiful, especially for, old Charles
Bukowski, giving us the hope out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's like, normally I'm really down in it, but today.
I want to send you this manuscript for this children's picture book that I wrote like 15 years ago that I could never get a publisher to be interested in pairing me with an illustrator. The book is called Betty Pie for Teddy Pie. It's about a pie that comes to life and is adopted by this heartbroken couple who never had a child of their own.
Wait, that feels like the Bao story.
Yeah.
Remember Bao?
I mean, yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. Bao is about like difficult relationship with parents. Yes.
Right.
But I love a personified food story. The Stinky Cheese Man, the Gingerbread Man, love all of them. But anyway, I wrote this line in it that it's probably from a million other things and probably has been written a million times since. And it's also very Leonard Cohen, I think. It's a version of a Leonard Cohen lyric, which is, a heart that is broken is also a heart that is open. And Leonard Cohen said, like, a crack is how the light gets in.
Right.
And I just think that your fucking heart is all the way open right now. You know? It's all the way open.
It is. She's been open. This girl, this heart.
And it means a lot too. It means that like you have to protect the openness of your heart because anything can get in, you know? Anything can get in and do what it's going to do. But it also means that like anything can get in, you know? And I do hope that like a special anything is coming for you. I believe in it for you, you know?
I do too. I mean, I really do. I really do. I really do. And I feel like until then, my job is going to be to just like continue to like, there's a fly in here. There's a giant fly in here. Caissie.
Who is she?
We got to find out. Somebody's got something to say to me. Truly, like what the fuck, girl?
That fly wants to tell you something.
I'm going to look it up. Should I look it up?
Yeah, what does the fly mean?
I'm going to look it up.
While you're looking it up, I'll say that what I'm doing my best at this week is that I'm having the cookie swap party on Sunday.
I know. I wish I was there.
I know. I wish you could be there too. But I wasn't going to do it because I was just like, ugh, too much. Ugh. And Matt was really like, have it. And maybe Matt was like, have it because he wanted cookies. But what I want to say is I just was like, yeah, have it. Like, just have it. It's good for you. It's good for other people. I don't think it's going to be like a rager of a cookie swap party. It's no Grossy Pelosi cookie swap party. He has the biggest cookie swap party in the United States, I think. But this one probably be like 10, 12 people. But what I wanted to say was like, I think I'm doing a really good job of not freaking out about it and being like, going around and like freaking out that there's like a chip of paint missing from the wall or that my kitchen is kind of ugly or, you know, just like all of the things that I normally kind of freak out about or that nobody's going to come or just all of that shit, all of that like insecure shit. I'm just like, I'm not freaking out about it and I'm not making my family miserable in the name of cookies, in the name of like preparing our house for cookies. So I'm pretty proud of myself because that's growth. That's growth.
I think that is growth.
For this girl.
You know what? I'm just going to tell you the first thing that like popped up on Google search right now.
About flies menacing you?
Well, just like, you know, like how there's
It's
always like the... Wait, you know how there's always like the top, you know, like
Yes.
the answer.
Yes.
And then you can scroll down and you can like find whatever you need to fit what you want in that moment. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
just saying, like, if you're a person who's like, oh my God, I've seen 3 ladybugs this week. What is the significance of ladybugs? And you Google it and that first thing that's like bold that comes up, you're like, that's not what it means. You can just like scroll down and you'll find what it is that you want it to mean.
Yes,
you know,
of
that's my
course.
only point.
Yes.
Because I just want to preface that by saying I did then kind of scroll to look and I was like, I don't like any of these other ones. No. But
You're shopping.
So like if you're listening and you're like, flies mean this, keep it to yourself. Like just keep it to your fucking self right now, Cindy. Really picking on Cindy. I don't even know who that is.
Poor
but
Cindy.
I just made that name up because I didn't want to say Karen.
Right.
You know what
I was
mean?
going to say Cindy's like medium Karen.
Well, I was just thinking like Cindy Lou Who. Cindy Hulu. Hulu? No. Cindy
Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah. Who's
Christmas
adorable,
time.
by the way. A little
best.
naive. Her parents need to talk to her about stranger danger, but
I mean, ain't that the truth? I did like seeing that guy that I like who talks really fast. I like that. I like that way of internet comedy, of like somebody just like talking really fast and da 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 da. You know, it's sort of like free association thinking, but where he was like, I think we need to reframe the Grinch. He never says he's against Christmas. He's just against all the noise, the noise, the noise, the noise. And as a person who like hates noise, I totally get it. And I was like, I kind of do too. Anyway, okay. I just Googled.
Yeah.
And the big one that came up, the very top answer,
Yeah.
screenshot it. I'm going to send it to Caissie. You can post it.
Okay.
The fly symbolizes change. Seeing this fly means you're going through a transformation. The message of change is similar to the butterfly and moths. The transformation may be physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. It is a time of metamorphosis for you.
Wow. All right.
So, okay, let's take it. We're going to take the win. I'm going to choose to use that one and not the one that's like 4 down. That's like, a dark stranger is about to come and give you some unwanted news. Fuck
Number
that.
7 is like,
Fuck
wash
that.
your pussy?
Yeah, truly. Speaking of which, I fully have a fucking yeast infection, which is just
No.
the worst. I know. That'll teach me to fucking have sex with guys.
That's your
No
first
more.
mistake.
I'm not holding myself to not having sex with guys. Just like, you know what I mean? I just like, I may be removing myself from the dating scene for a bit.
Yeah.
It's just hard enough, you know?
Why doesn't People Magazine write a thing about how you're looking for like to not date, but you want to meet a guy? You know? What People Mag should write about that.
Why doesn't People Mag write about how I'm literally the hottest I've ever been in my life? And I've done so much work on myself, and I'm like rad. And a super fun hang when I'm not crying.
Oh my gosh.
It's a lot though. I get it.
People Mag, we kid. We love you. We're happy with whatever you put in your magazine.
I don't know if I am. I just feel, and I just mean that really purely because it like brings the fucking trolls. It just brings a bunch of haters. And like we have this community of people, you guys, that are really supportive and wonderful. And like, even occasionally when you have like some the criticisms or whatever, always feels like small beefs, feels like it comes from a real place of like understanding love and like being genuine. And I don't actually like, you know, we were talking about like growing the podcast with somebody earlier today, like oh, would it be better, more beneficial if it got bigger? And a lot of times I feel like no, we can't. I don't. This actually, I actively don't want to do that because of what it then exposes us to. And I already have been feeling like it's too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even doing the podcast this past week was really, it was hard for me because I felt like I wanted to share everything with you guys. And then also I always knew what was going to happen. I always fucking knew it. I knew it. Yeah. And anytime I share anything that's like actually deeply personal, what ends up happening is that it gets put into this fucking machine. And also I want to say this, that my friend's friend who is really good looking, but whatever, it doesn't even matter. But like, he's like a catch, this guy kind of. And he was a little bit like, oh, she's rad. I don't think I could do that. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks. Like that sucks. And he meant it because of my life, because of like what I share and how much I share and how transparent I am with my personal life and all the things that I'm going through. And like, look, I don't know. Maybe there's not a fucking dude that's strong enough. And that just is what it is. Right. Except for Mark. So, well, you know.
Right.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark, for being strong enough.
We love Mark.
To deal with it.
Yeah, well, okay. But you're putting it out in the universe. Strong enough. Ooh, maybe this is a holiday movie that we should write.
It's just a real Sheryl Crow moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you strong enough to be my man?
And you know,
'Cause if
even
not-
Sheryl Crow has had her man troubles. So.
No, I know. But that's like, but I
Right?
think that's hard. I think that's hard for every strong fucking woman who's successful. I think
Yeah.
it's fucking hard. And not for nothing, I'm a strong woman who's successful, who also has 2 kids and, you know, a like relationship with an ex-husband. And, like that for some people is not a vibe for them. They don't want to deal with that or whatever. Like, whatever. I think it's lame, but fine. But live your truth. And I have a really public facing life. And, you know, it's, so it really is like, it's not for the dudes who like, you know, are moody.
It won't be for everyone, but I hope,
certainly not for everyone.
I hope it's
and everyone is not for me.
I hope it's for someone. And like, you don't know, you might meet a person that like you don't even want to talk about. You might want to just keep it all.
I don't think that that's out of the question at all. Like, I mean, I have been seeing people, but like, you know, haven't been talking about them. I don't think that's out of the question at all. I think that that's actually probable that I like probably won't want to talk about whatever relationship.
Remember when Joy Behar married Steve and we were all like, who's Steve? Like, who even knew that she had someone that she was serious? I was unaware of Steve. That's what I feel like. Maybe you'll meet your Steve.
Yeah, but also at the same time, like there's whatever. It's like it's a more nuanced conversation, but it's also like a conversation to have with a person who wants to actually be my fucking boyfriend and not just like.
Here's what I really think. I think you need to meet someone who's A, grown, and B, has their own thing going on and isn't interested in what you can potentially do for them.
Oof. Well, I don't even know. That's also hard. Like, I don't ever think that of people. And I know that maybe that is a thing, but I never consider that as a motivation for somebody.
Right.
And it like that bums me out if it is. But I guess there's a reality that it could be. I don't know.
I just think you have to be cautious of it because anyone in your position would be. And I think like, I don't know. I just want you to be careful because I never want you to get taken advantage of. I don't want any woman to get taken advantage of, you know? Like I want you to take advantage of someone else. I don't.
No, that's not. I know that's not what you mean. I was just thinking about my own. Yeah, I was just thinking about my own stuff. You know.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny. Like I was thinking recently, like the truth is, like I say boyfriend. Like I don't even know if that's accurate to what I want or need.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe that's like part of the thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know if I have time for a boyfriend. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, I look forward to
the new year. Me too.
Watching you figure it out. The new year. I'm excited for the new year.
Me too.
I mean, I don't know that I am. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say I'm excited for it.
Enough out of you. We're fucking excited about the new year. We're excited about the new year. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
The first time I ever said something I feel like that people made into a meme was that I said that New Year's Eve is like the equivalent of not knowing what to do with your arms. And like, I still feel that way.
Well, I think that's true about like what to do on New Year's Eve.
Yes. But the new year is going to be great. But
that's what I'm saying. I don't give a fuck about New Year's Eve, like at all. Like I do not care about New Year's Eve. Period.
Here's what I know.
Full stop.
Let's get to January 6th and see if it's been better than other January 6ths.
I'm going to bet it. I'm going to bet it that it is. Let's get to January 8th because it's the premiere of Mean Girls.
Yes.
The musical movie.
Yay. It's exciting.
All right. Well, listen, guys, we love you. Wait, I'm going to pull some cards. Okay.
Oh, Busy's pulling
DVD.
cards.
Bum, bum. Interesting. Okay. What are we being met with? Karmic path. These are Marcella Kroll's cards.
Yes.
So what we're being met with, karmic path, karmic lesson, learning experience, hard work, perseverance, structure, new valuable lesson is available at this time. This moment requires due diligence. Pay attention to what's being presented to you. Have you been down this road before? Our souls come to this earth to learn valuable lessons as beings and for the planet. What are you being taught right now? This moment may require hard work, but it will have long-lasting rewards. You're not being punished, but you are gaining tools and experience for living that will be with you for the rest of your life. Drawing this card also tells you that the foundation of what you are building is strong and part of your legacy.
Wow.
That's what we're being met with, guys.
That's a good one.
What do we need to let go of or release? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Affluence. Money, wealth.
Girl, I've been letting go of that.
Yeah. We just have to let go of the idea of it, I think. You know? Like that it's not gonna, I don't know. Whatever.
I'm good with that.
I understand. I'm
that's
okay with
one
that too.
I feel good about because I have long said all I'm trying to do is live. You know, that's all I'm
What
trying to do.
What do we call in? We call in the new moon. We call in a new beginning, a fresh start, an auspicious time to start new projects. This is the new moon. That's weird. It is actually the new moon right now.
Yeah.
Drawing this card invites you to begin again. Meditate on this at the new moon to bring in new energy into your life. We should write a list of intentions, dreams, goals, wishes to support the new direction and invite in inspiration. I'm going to do that right after we stop talking. And guys, as Marcella Kroll always says, where is it all headed? It's headed towards knowledge. Remain teachable. There is new wisdom available to you. This card can signify getting more information before proceeding. It can also signify the presence of an important teacher, Caissie. Maybe that's you. Or perhaps you are the teacher. Maybe it's me. And you need to share your knowledge and gifts with the world around you. Drawing this card also indicates a message from your Akashic records. Do you know what Akashic records are?
Yeah. I don't know what that is.
It's like the idea that like it's like your soul's records of like what your soul's journeys have been and the lessons that your soul has like learned throughout time.
Oh,
the many times. So like you access your Akashic. I mean, some people do like Akashic record, like it's almost like past life regression or something like that, you know, like, or like meditation.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can also just like do a meditation where you're like sort of asking for your Akashic records or your like soul's journey to be sort of given to you. And like, if you hear something like, I don't know, like love yourself, you know, if you just like, you know, like you guys meditate, surely you understand what I'm talking about. No, but I'm just saying like, or sometimes you'll see an image sort of like in a meditation when you're like thinking about Akashic records or thinking about your past lives. And in those instances, that's like, that is literally being shown to you, like what you've been working on and like continue and sort of can be like reaffirming as to like what the path is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah. So seek out more information. Meditate to learn new things or to draw the right teachers into your life, guys. Well, I think it's a great place to end. I actually think that's like these are like it's a great 4 cards.
Yeah, that was perfect. And thank you for coming to part 2 of this week's podcast. We wanted to bring you part 2. I want to say that next week we're traveling for the holidays, so there won't be a new episode of the podcast. But then we're going to return the week after, which is Christmas week. Christmas is on Monday, and a new podcast will come out the Wednesday after Christmas, which I think is like a good time because that's when everyone's like, okay,
Bored at home.
What now?
Bored at your parents' house.
What now? Yeah, you can tell your parents that you have a conference call for work. and then go into a
Or
room
just,
and
like-
listen to the podcast.
Just like put in your AirPods while you're wrapping gifts.
And
That's
all
what
you
I-
have to do is be like,
it comes
it'll
out
be
right
too
after
late for-
Christmas, though.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
after
you're right.
Christmas. But you put in your
I'm
AirPods.
so confused.
Put in your AirPods, listen to the podcast, tell your parents it's a work call, and then you just say, oh my God, that's a totally good point. Yes, yes, yes.
So
And
smart,
then
Case. So smart.
3 hours later, you listen to a podcast. Your
Mhm.
parents are proud of you for working
Mhm.
so
You've been
hard.
working so diligently during the holidays.
And they're like,
Do they know
"Oh my
what you're worth? That's amazing. Good for you. I love this plan, guys. I want it for all of you. I want it for all of us.
So we won't talk to you next week, but we'll be on our Substack doing Substacky things.
Those things.
And we'll talk to you the week after. And we love you. And thanks for coming for part 2.
Bye.
Bye.
Have the best holiday.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh no.